Hello everyone, you're from Driftmoon here, welcome to my studio. In today's video we will go through the project for our track with Sarah Howells called Alive. It's part of our album Moonstruck Phase 2. I have the Ableton project opened in front of me and we will go through how I process the vocals, the pads, the pianos, plugs, leads, etc., drum bass. I'm gonna start playing the track at 1 minute 30 mark and I'm gonna stop it somewhere around here, which should give us a rough idea what the track is about. And let's see how it goes. Okay, so that should give us a rough idea where the track is, how it looks like. I'm gonna start with the vocals. First of all, let me turn all the processing on the vocal, the main vocal, the wider, okay. Main vocal, that should be fine, backing vocal. So when Sarah sent us the vocals originally, she was following the key melody, which is working really well. I really liked it, but I had an idea. I need to split the vocals into main group and a backing vocal. And the idea is to have the main vocal dead in the center and the backing vocals more on the side. So I'm going to show you how I achieve this. So as you can see, the vocals are pretty much copying all the main syllables. So everything is faded, you know, the fade-ins, fade-outs, just so I can kind of do the wave of moving in and moving out of the music. Let me play you the backing vocals. There is a little bit of delay and a little bit of phaser on it already, but let me show you how I process it. So I'm using vocal double from the isotope, which is basically doing what the name suggests. It's doubling the vocal. Then I have the comeback delay, but I'm not using it as a regular delay. I'm using it as a slab delay, which means 68 milliseconds after the original sound, the delay comes in, so it sounds super wide. Then we have kaleidoscope from Waves, which is adding a little bit of phaser and flanger on the left and right side. So when I turn it on, you will see it moving from left to right.
You're a moment. You're the reason.
So it's adding a lot more movement to the backing vocal. Then we have an EQ8, and I'm cutting a lot of frequencies from the vocal because I only want it to be audible in a certain range. But the magic comes when we combine it with the main vocal. I'm going to show it to you in a second. So this is the main vocal completely dry.
You're a moment. You're the reason. You're alive now to tell the tale in the fable.
As you can see, I've cut a lot of the breathing out of the performance, but I'm keeping it at certain places just to add more natural sounding aspect back into the vocal, so it sounds more, you know, natural, and it sounds like Sarah's voice and the way she recorded it. The processing on the main vocal is as follows. So we're using RVox. Everyone should know what RVox is. It's one of the oldest and best vocal compressors there is from Waves. Then we have Utility putting the vocal in mono. We have Greg Wells Voice-Centric, which is adding a little bit of delay, a little bit of doubling, a little bit of reverb, a little bit of intensity. Let me turn the Kelvin and Echo Boy off, just so you can hear what the Greg Wells and RVox are doing.
You're a moment. You're the reason.
Then we have Kelvin from Tone Projects. Kelvin is a multi-stage saturator. I'm using it to add a little bit of mid-range and a lot of high frequencies back into the mix, so the vocal sounds super airy.
You're a moment.
Then we have Echo Boys from Sound Toys, again using it as a slap delay, which means now 64.8 milliseconds after the first delay, the second one's gonna hit.
You're a moment.
Now you can hear the vocal is sounding wide already. When we combine it with the backing vocal,
you're a moment.
Super wide now. Now the processing on the vocals, the whole bus, is a little bit different, because now I want to achieve gluing them together and making one cohesive sound. We're using a plethora of plugins, but we'll go over them. We're using Nectar as a target level. We're using TubeTech SMC2B from Softube, which is a multi-band compressor, really good for leveling your sound. Whether it's guitar, bass, percussion, it works wondrous on vocals.
Your moment.
Then we have Nectar 4. We're adding a little bit of EQ, DSR compressor, and Dimension. Dimension should be probably chorus. Yeah, chorus. We're not using the backup voices because I didn't like it in this particular track. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Then we have sealed vocal from Waves, just taking care of the essays and the sibilances. You have to be really careful when it comes to female vocal. A little bit more than male vocal, because the essays tend to be really strong and they will cut through the mix. And when you compress them and limit them without treating them, they're gonna be really hurtful.
Your moment.
Then we have Magma channel from Waves, just adding a little bit of EQ, a little bit of expansion, a little bit of compression. The Oven from Plugin Alliance, I love this plugin. It's absolutely amazing. Mauro Applebaum's way of saturating. He calls it the cook, temperature, cooking, burners, sizzle flow. It works amazing, especially in the mid-range.
Your moment.
Then we have a first set of EQ. Basically, I'm cutting away everything below 150 Hz. There is a lot of frequencies there, either from the plugins or from the recordings, which will become more audible as you process them, and we want to make sure that they don't hit our next processing. Look, this is totally unnecessary, it doesn't have to be there.
You're the reason.
Then we're using Sooth just to treat the sibilances and, you know, the harshness of the vocal. First delay we have is from Arturia, the tape delay.
Your moment.
My idea was to fill the spaces between the performance. Then we have Crystalline. Crystalline is a reverb from Baby Audio. And the beauty of Crystalline is that it has got this ducking feature. I'm using it a lot. So whenever the vocal is playing, the reverb comes on, but it's going to be ducked, compressed. And then when she is not singing, the reverb is going to flow out.
Your moment.
Filling the space.
You're the reason.
Another tube tech SMC2B, you might be asking why I'm using set of 2 compressors, and basically the idea is first compressor is to level the vocal itself, and then I'm trying to level the vocal with the reverb and additional processing so it sounds like one cohesive unit. After that we have some Ozone 11, just for the width. So basically we're making sure from 300 to 3K the vocal is fully mono. Then we have cluster delay from Minimal Audio, and it's adding little delay nuances. It works really well on phrases, not something like, you know, ostinato bass or something like that, but when you have a phrase and you want to fill the space between phrases, cluster delay works amazing.
Your moment. You're the reason.
Then we have Valhalla reverb, probably 4 seconds. 15 millisecond pre-delay, 20% mix, cut away the lows at 700. And then we have UAD API and Clipper. The idea of using a compressor and a clipper, for me at least, is that I'm using the compressor to compress the sound with the reverb and the delay even more, so it looks cohesive and it sounds cohesive and it cuts through the mix. And then I have a clipper just to make the average loudness higher, so it's as competitive as the rest of the track.
Your moment.
So we're clipping the highs a little bit.
You're the reason.
Another EQ just to treat the 10K.
To tell the tale.
And basically then we have sidechain just to make it stand out in the track. And when you hear it all together,
New beginnings, starts and endings. Raise the roof, the sky is mending. And when it crumbles, we'll start again. You're the surface. You're the ocean.
when you have a vocal track like this, the vocal should stand out. It should be the main aspect of your track. You need to make sure the treatment of the vocal is spot on and it's just cutting through the mix. The words are audible, the lyrics are, you know, you can get the lyrics from the vocal, you know what she's singing about. So when we move on to the pads, pianos, plucks and leads, I'm gonna delete the vocal to save a lot of CPU because the processing on it is so heavy. The pad sounds, basically the pads and the piano are playing chords. With a low pad as well. We're combining strings from Omnisphere and a regular JP kind open source pad from Avenger. Super wide, just to fill out the spectrum of frequencies with chords. The processing on it is rather straightforward. We have some soft tube tape. We have the RC20, which is one of my most favorite plugins. It's adding a little analogy sound back to the digital sound. A little bit of distortion, a little bit of space and magnetic. And it's making it wobble, which is the sound, pardon me, which is the sound human ear really loves. That's why analog recordings and old school recordings, they tend to sound better than the digital music of nowadays. And the point is that the analog gear back in the day, it was not stable. It was not precise. You know, it was wobbly, it was funky. Nothing was perfect, but human ear, we love those type of sounds. We love when it's not digital and straight to the grid. So that's why RC20 really comes in handy, especially on pads. It's making them wobbly, it's making them, you know, more interesting to human ears. Then we have bus processor from Softube, which is a really good glue compressor. I know a lot of you are using like Waves SSLG. This is 2023, 2024 version of Waves SSL. I love that you can set the release to your tempo. You know, the ratio is really nice as well, and it works a little bit differently than the SSLG because it's combining with saturator, harmonic distortion, and enhancement. You have the air, which is the super high air frequencies, the width, and the mono width as well. You can achieve this differently with different plugins, but it's really nice to see it all in one, so you don't have to use more plugins then. Kelvin, we're using it to add a little bit of low mids and mids back into the mix, and we're cutting away the high frequencies. Pro Q3, just so it works more with the vocals, because here is where the vocal was positioned in a higher register. Duck is my favorite, multi-band sidechain. Another sidechain, just to make sure it's cutting through the mix well, and then Valhalla Vintage Reverb, this is really like straight in, super easy processing for pads. And I think the Omnisphere preset is called, let me find it, Omnisphere VST. I think it's called Adagio, Warm Adagio. Let me check, let me put my hands on my keyboard. Yeah, it should be Adagio Warm, or just Adagio. Yeah, Adagio Transparent Strings Warm, so let's open it up. Let's try. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So if you want to get the string preset I'm using in Alive, it's from Omnisphere Adagio Transparent Strings Warm. There you go. Piano chords. Basically, this is piano from, I think, Arturia. And it's playing chords, the same chords, just edited the low notes that the pads are playing with the strings. And I want it as a partner for the vocal, partner from the pads, because piano really cuts through the mix really nicely. The processing on it is almost the same as the pads, but when you combine them, you get the magic. For me, one of the most beautiful aspects of this track are the plucks. We have 3 of them. We have one from Cobalt, which is the Modal Electronics analog synth. I have it right here. We have Avenger, VPS Avenger, and Pigments. Let me play you the modal on its own. A little later in the track when it's fully opened. Beautiful and simple. When I was thinking about how I want to achieve the Pluck sound to be like, I wanted it to feel a little bit distorted but dreamy at the same time. The modal plug is serving as a base of the Pluck sounds. We are combining them with 2 sounds. One is from VPS Avenger, which is almost like heavily distorted guitar. The Avenger and Pigments is providing the airy part here. You know, almost like angelic, mallety type of sound, cuts really well through mix and works wonders with plug melodies. Those 2, both Pigments and Avenger, are heavily sidechained to the modal itself, because I want the attack of the modal to cut through, and then in the quiet part, I want the Avenger and Pigments to be more audible. So altogether it sounds like this. The processing on it, again, we have Softube tape, we have the bus processor from Softube, we have Pro Q3, just cutting away the super highs and super lows. We have the fuser from Mastering the Mix, which is treating the phase according to the vocal. It's adjusting the phase, so the sounds are more in phase and they don't really compete with the spectrum. Then we have enhancer, plugin alliance, yeah. Plugin alliance enhancer, we are adding a little bit of the bass and mids back into the mix, and we are compressing the sound a little bit. And then we have the crystalline reverb with my own presets. You can screenshot these and copy it. Basically, it's set to sync with the project tempo. this will be a one bar reverb, not delay, sorry, reverb. It's ducking 50%, so basically the whole idea is when you have the reverb, it's gonna fill out the parts of the sound between each individual phrase. Now you hear the reverb. Crystalline is a really good reverb, especially for anything phrase built from phrases, you know, like plucks. Now let's go to the leads. We have three main ones. One diva. This will be diva as well, of course. Yeah, let me unfreeze this. Show you the MIDI. There we go. So when we play them all together, let's open the main part here. We have the main diva one. Let's see, it's cool. Yeah, LS Bailamos. Yeah. It's opening up slowly. Diva is amazing polysynth, especially for leads and, you know, anything which you want to sound more analogy. Compared to that, those leads from Matt Asteroid, thank you, are a combination of Spire and Silent. Those two synths are super digital, especially to my ear, so you need to tweak them a little bit differently. We are cutting away the super high frequencies. And especially we are turning off the noise oscillators, because especially in Spire, the noise oscillator, I know it's awesome, but it's super heavy on the ears. When you compress it and limit it, it's really audible, the noise from Spire, so I like to turn it off all the way. And this diva, it's basically just doubling the lead melody. So it's playing this pattern. And all together. But let's turn the processing off, and I'm going to show you a few tricks. So first off, let me play it to you without the processing. We're going to start with tape from Softtube and the bus processor from Softtube. So we're adding a little bit of tape saturation. We're not even hitting the 0 dB. We're adding a little bit of compression, but a lot of saturation here as well. And then we have tape echoes from Softtube. Amazing little plugin, you know, it emulates the old school tape sounding echo. If you ever heard an analog tape machine, it's wonky, it's wobbly, it's not on time, but it sounds so musical. And this is adding a little bit of musicality back into the digital recording. Let me put it all the way dry and wet so you know what I'm talking about. Can you hear it? You know, the dirt, the flutter, the echo? Back to 12%. Then we have a regular delay, just regular Ableton delay. We have Ozone 10, the width adjustment. So the low frequencies are being more in mono, than the center is being more in mono, and the high frequencies we're leaving as it is. I'm following a principle of inverse pyramid, which is like this. The lower you are in frequency spectrum, the sound should be more mono. So your bass should be super mono, the mids should be mono-centered, and the high frequencies, they can be stereo wide. When you treat your frequencies like this, you're gonna achieve much better mix. After this, we have a Softtube clipper, just, you know, pushing the sounds together a little bit more. Shaper box, that's multiband ducking, that's first multiband sidechain. We have it set differently for low frequencies, mids and highs. And the idea is that I want to hear the attack sound of the high frequencies. So the multiband sidechain is adjusted to correspond with that. Then we have Endless Smile from Dada Life. Just adding some intensity and excitement before the drop and different section of the track. But I'm using it in conjunction with the stutter edit from Isotope. I'm sending this MIDI note into it to trigger a set of effects. And just listen to the filtering and, you know, the reverb and high pass delay it does right around here. You know, stuff like this, it adds a lot of excitement into your music. You know, it just makes it a little bit more special. Then we have unfiltered audio, the tails from BT, you know, the producer BT. So this is one of his plugins. It's a really good reverb with the ducking feature as well. all together. This is a sidechain, that's fine, we can turn it on. This is EQ just to cut away the low frequencies. Fuser and neutron, yeah. We're again using fuser to deal with the phase, and neutron just to sculpt the sound with the vocal. Works amazingly. Now, when we get to drums, really simple, you know, straightforward, uplifting trance drums, nothing special about them, apart from the send channels. I'm gonna turn them off for a second and you're gonna hear. Straightforward, uplifting trance drums, open hi-hat, fried clap. I'm sending them to two channels, two return channels. First of them is a New York style parallel compressor. We're using the I-Hat New York from Baby Audio. We are merging the dry sound or dryish sound from the project itself with the super compressed sound from the return channel to have better sounding drums which are hitting louder. And then we have a drum reverb. We're using the super plate from the Sound Toys compared we're using the super plate with the SSL Blitzer compressor, just compressing the reverb of the drums. The whole idea of having the return channel set like this is you're using samples from different sample banks, from different producers, you know, from Splice or, you know, Vengeance or whichever way you found your samples. Most of the samples are treated differently by the producers, are used differently, are either compressed or not compressed, EQ'd or not EQ'd, and they don't sound like they are playing in the same room together. Let me show you. The whole idea of giving the sound reverb is to put them in space, so all the sounds sound like they are being played in one space, one imaginary space I am creating for them. This is with and without. Yeah, the whole idea of the reverb is to actually give the drums their own space. Then we have bass bus, mid bass. Let me delete the smart EQ here. Straightforward, nothing to it. I think it's Spire and a Serum. And we have our low bass with the kick. The sub itself is from Serum, it's called K-Sub from Seven Skies, and we're adding a lot of distortion or a lot of excitement to it with the Sound Toys Decapitator. This is the kick processing, nothing to it, just a little bit of EQ, and the whole bass has a little bit of a gold clip from Schwabe Digital, just to put the levels a little bit higher. The beauty of this, because the offbeat sub is the easiest to make, easiest to process, but it's being sent to small speaker preparation channel, which is a return channel I have set up in Ableton with the R-Bass from Waves. Every producer knows what R-Bass is doing, but there is a preset called small speaker preparation. What it does, it takes your original sub-bass and puts it octaves higher, so you have more harmonic excitement there, and the offbeat bass will cut easier through the mix. Let me show you how it sounds without it and with it. So without it, and now with it. You could hear it jump an octave higher. It will cut through the mix easier, and the idea behind having it on a return channel is that I can always check the levels, my, you know, kick and bass levels. So when we do something like this, I'm going to show you. So we're going to open up a regular EQ, we're going to high pass it all the way down to like 350. Now I can check the pumpiness of my kick and bass. If it's moving, you know, if it's danceable because it's supposed to be played in a club. Now you can hear how it's gonna cut through the mix. A little kick roll. Oh, we're using the Vengeance Club Sounds Volume 1. That was my first first sample pack I ever bought. And we're just tweaking it a little bit towards the end. Oh yeah, these little box hit from Sarah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know how it sounds, if you like it. If you want me to cover anything else, or if you want me to cover this track in more detail and show you, each individual channel and presets, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.